Hello, and welcome to the Third Sector. I'm your host, Tamara Brinkman. In our society, there are three sectors: the public, the private, and the nonprofit, and it's that third sector that we're here to talk about today. Excuse me. Joining me for today's episode, we'll have Katie Stephen from Communities in Schools, and later we're going to have Tai Muldoon from Girls Inc. But to get us started, please join me in welcoming Katie Stephen to the show. Katie, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been a while. I think the last time we had you on the show, we were doing Zooms because it was a few years ago and our world was in a different place. So happy to have you live and in person in the studio with us today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Let's dive right into it. Talk to us about Communities in Schools. How long has it been in the community, and what's maybe changed from when it started to where it is today?
Right. So Communities in Schools has been in Wayne County for many years. Since 2001 is when it started. Mm-hmm. The staff has obviously changed since then, but we have grown tremendously. We now are covering all 5 school districts, and before it started in 1, so that's huge. We do have site coordinators in all 5 school districts. So all the elementaries are covered, and then middle and high school. Okay. So now this current school year, we have 17 site coordinators in buildings. So their role is just being there for students, helping with basic needs, academics, behavior, attendance, helping staff, students, families reach their own goals is our goal at Communities in Schools.
That's wonderful. Talk to me a little bit about the mission of the organization.
Right. So we are placed in schools to help succeed. So we help students every day because we're a constant for them in the school building. So being in our mission of being in schools to help students stay in school and succeed in life.
Right, because the point is you want them to stay in school and graduate and become thriving adults.
Yes, and that's one of the perks is, so Northeastern Elementary, Middle, and High being an example, the elementary site coordinator will then kind of give a warm handoff to that middle school site coordinator, and then again in high school. Okay. So we can help students from preschool age all the way up to their 12th year and be able to be successful.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. How do you end up with students or families? Like, what is the process within the schools? Do they go to the site coordinator and say they need help? Does the teacher do it? I mean, what helps create that connection, I guess, is really what I'm trying to get to.
Right. So if a student is coming to school every day and maybe they're in the lower elementary ages, so they don't have the freedom to kind of roam the halls, for say, as like a middle school or high schooler would, they would go to their teacher every day, report to that classroom, and maybe that teacher sees that maybe their clothes aren't washed, or they maybe come in and they're really fidgety because they're really hungry because they didn't have breakfast. They could have a conversation with the site coordinator and say, hey, could you check on Charlie, see if he's okay, maybe offer him a snack in the mornings, maybe you can come and check in with him in the morning, because something's going on, I think. Right. And so that kind of initiates that first conversation. Okay. So then we would reach out to the family and say, hey, I see this need. If you sign this consent, we can just be an extra support for that student. Okay. So our staff in all the buildings are really good too about giving us referrals. So they see it. If we see it as a site coordinator, we could say, hey, call home. I see that your shoes are really tattered. I have a pair of size 5 here in my office. Can I send them home with you? So we do have the supplies there in our offices to be able to give to students the same day. Right. And get that consent signed, and then we can help with loads of other things.
Loads of other things. Wow. Are families generally pretty willing or open to take your support and help, or is that an area that can be challenging for you guys?
Typically, I'm going to say yes. Typically, yes, they do accept our support, and I think it's this world today is hard, and the more people that can help get their students to the right place, whether it is a financial part of their life or just somebody to talk to, they typically are willing and able
to accept the help, because sometimes people, and I mean, I'm sure you have them, but where they're just have too much pride, even though they have such high need. Right. And so I was just curious if that was something, and I'm sure you run into that from time to time, but it's nice to know most people are willing to to welcome the support.
And with our organization too, there's not a threshold on a dollar amount or an income. So it's really just an as needed basis.
Right.
Have that signed consent just so we are covered at the national level and showing that, we can help these students that are on our caseloads. So sometimes that would, I would say, tailor our body of the people we can help because of an income base, but it's not
done
like
by
that.
Yeah. It's not like that. So you mentioned national. I want to talk just a little bit about that. Wayne County has a communities in schools, and that it is not something, or it is not an organization that exists in every county in Indiana or across the country, but it is a nationwide organization. So let's give us a little bit about why Wayne County. How in 2001 did a communities in schools get to Wayne County?
So in 2001, there was a need in the county, and it was more so we need help with the basic needs, just an extra support person in a school building. So like I had said, there was one school district, that was Richmond, and we started an affiliate. You talk to the national organization, and that's how an affiliate is started. They start the process. And so they say, X amount of money can be provided from school because they technically are our customer, right? So they say, we want your service in our buildings. And then an X amount has to come from the organization. And so we do fundraising events, we do different grant writing, so we are able to fund that way. The need was here, and we filled the need. Now, in a big picture, we would love to help other surrounding counties, but it's that coming to an agreement of the school can do this much on our agreement, and then we will provide the other amount. And getting businesses in Wayne County, they're a very giving community. And so we have a lot of organizations and a lot of businesses that are willing to say, I will sponsor X amount of dollars to help this program. And so things like this, I like telling people what we do because the needs are out there beyond just Wayne County, right? So it's the more people can get to know about us, the more that we can eventually expand and help more students in Indiana. And to kind of touch on that, we do have two other affiliates in Indiana, one in Indianapolis and in Gary, Indiana. But there's only 3 in Indiana. So, yeah.
I think that's something that's really important for people to understand. So you talk about that you're doing fundraisers and things like that. Helpful for the community to understand that while the schools have to give a percentage or cover your budget at a percentage, you guys have to supplement that, and no one's giving you that money. You have to get it through grants and get it through fundraising and things like that. And all of those writing grants and fundraising takes a lot of time and effort and work. So it's not it's not simple to just go shore up the rest of your budget through fundraising or grants or things like that. So we're certainly grateful that you guys are collectively doing all of that, for the students in the community. Let's talk a little bit about the impact that your work has on the community. I mean, obviously you would be filling a need and giving families support, but if communities in schools weren't here today, how many kids potentially or families would be affected by not having that resource?
So referring to data from last school year, we were able to give out over 7,000 basic need items. So and this is obviously just to Wayne County students. And a basic need item goes to students on our caseload, okay? So we would walk into a school and we could help any student potentially maybe with that support of just saying, hey, keep your head up, it's okay. Like, it's okay that you didn't get an A, you got a B, it's okay, right? Just being that support. But a basic needs standpoint goes to our case managed students. Last school year, we had 931 case managed students at the end of the school year. And I say at the end because they might have transferred out or came or, it fluctuates throughout the school year. So over 7,000 items went out to them, and meaning shoes, coats, clothing, hygiene products, school supplies, you name it, we've provided it.
My goodness.
And so it is a very eye-opening thing to know, like, if we were not here, how do we fill those gaps? How do we help students kind of overcome those barriers that they have? Because if they're hungry and they need a snack, they're not going to be able to focus in school, right? Like, you know, those are basic needs that some of us take for granted. And thankfully, we're that bridge to help them be able to be successful in the classroom.
Right. Well, you guys, we have a few minutes left in our time. I know you've got a fall event coming up that you want to be able to share with folks, an opportunity for the community to come on out and check y'all out, maybe get involved.
Right. So we have our fall event on October 3rd. It's at Hartley Hills in Hagerstown. We are really excited. We have the Centerville Jazz Band going to be there that night as well for some little entertainment. Just share some stories of what we did last school year, what we've done this school year, and to touch base on that because we were talking about basic needs. Within the first 5 days of school, we gave out 1,466 basic need items. School supplies this year was a humongous need. And they do the backpack drives and they do the things, but some of our families can't transport there, right? So the first week of school, the first 5 days of school, we gave out over 1,400 items to students.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is the fall event more for people to come learn more about communities in schools, or is it more of a fundraising event? What's really kind of the goal of that event?
Right. So the goal of the fall event is to hear more about what we're doing, where our mission is going. All of our site coordinators are present that day. So it's from 5 to 7. So we allot some time for kind of mingling. So our site coordinators go and talk to donors and talk to people that just want to know what we do. And they can ask questions. So last year, I believe those are some pictures that you'll see. And last year it was really, really good turnout. We have a pumpkin auction going on again this year. And so it's kind of, this year we did board businesses. So people that are on our board, their businesses are decorating a pumpkin. It's kind of a friendly contest type thing going on.
Little competition among the board members.
Right. So they're all excited about it. We're excited about it. And the jazz band is new this year. So that's our goal, is to kind of have someone come each year for some entertainment.
Wow, that's exciting. As we get ready, we could have gone through probably a lot of things. If folks want to get involved with communities and schools, if they want to know how they can help or donate, we have put some information up while we've been chatting. What's the best way for them to do that? How to connect with you?
I would say call the office. Email's always fine as well, but calling the office, you get that direct contact and we can set you up.
That sounds good. And as a final thought, what brings you the most joy about what you do?
I would say just being able to be a piece of that student's success and a piece of their smile that day, because we're there every day. So if they come in with something that's really heavy to them, we can be a piece to make it brighter.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much. Katie Stevens, she is the data manager and supervisor for communities in schools. Thanks for joining us. When we come back, Tai Muldoon from Girls Inc. Stay with us. Welcome back. Joining me now, we have Tai Muldoon, CEO for Girls Inc. Tai, welcome to the Third Sector.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. You've been on before. It's been quite it's been a bit since we've been able to chat with you. I think the last time we got to talk to you, we might have actually still been doing it via Zoom. But if not, you were one of my early back in the studio guests. But in any case, we're happy to have you back on the show. Let's just start right with Girls Inc. How long has it been in the community? When did it start? And what's kind of changed from when it started to what it looks like today?
Yeah, so Girls Inc. has been around for 55 years. This is our 55th year. We're very excited about that. Wow. That's a huge milestone.
That is a huge milestone. Congratulations.
Thank you. And Girls Inc. National has been around for 160 years. So they're celebrating a really big birthday this year also.
160 years?
160 years.
Are they one of the largest or oldest nonprofits that exists?
We are up there.
Wow, my goodness. Well, that's impressive. Congratulations, all in all. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're in the middle of the road of affiliates. There are some that have started within the last couple of years, but we've been around for quite a while thanks to some really remarkable women that decided we needed something better for girls to do.
So, wow, 55 years. So let's see, explain to viewers, what's the mission of Girls Inc.? What are like your pillars or area of focus in support, for girls?
Yeah, so Girls Inc.'s mission is to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. And we do that through a variety of ways. So we have after-school programs and an 8-week summer camp, and we also do programming within the schools. And all of our programs are research-backed and evidence-based. We use Girls Inc. national curriculum. And so it's very structured programming to help make girls well-rounded, provide them with the skills and resources that they need to be successful later in life. For things like access to STEM activities, learning different career opportunities that they have, getting them connected with strong, smart, bold women like yourself, that they can meet and see that there's different career options for them. We also do a lot of things around like media literacy, so understanding the messages that they're receiving in the media and ways that they can make their own messages. We also do financial literacy, so helping them to learn how to be independent financially, but not just what money is, but how to manage it, how to access it, how to grow it. And so a lot of very intentional programs happen that go into that mission.
Wow, that's a lot. Tell us about what are the goals for, say, the next year or so for Girls Inc.?
Well, if you ask the girls, it would be to get a class pet, which I said no to. Very much no. They're trying to convince me we need an animal at Girls Inc. But for the staff and the board, it's really to maintain our stability. That through COVID and a lot of other things in our 55 years, there's been a lot of up and down, and we've really gotten to a point where we're reaching almost full capacity with programs and looking at ways to grow into our outreach and surrounding communities. So maintaining, where we are and making sure that the experience for the girls is the best Girls Inc. experience, and then making sure we're serving the schools in our county and surrounding counties as best as we can.
So talk a little bit more about what do you guys do in the schools? What's that work look like? What are you doing?
Yeah, so we offer a comprehensive sex education program to any Wayne County and Union County school that requests it. It is not a requirement, and it is an opt-in program. So parents have the choice to opt their child, it's an opt-out program. So parents have the choice to opt their child out of that. But we start with a puberty program that some of the local elementaries get. So teaching children about their changing body, and not just with girls. We do this program with the boys also. And what to expect in the future, all the way through the high school program, which really teaches how to prevent transmission of sexually transmitted infections. We really encourage not to participate in sexual activity, but as everyone knows, by college age, people are going to start becoming active.
Right.
And
let's give them arm them with some information, because we know they're going to do what they're going to do, because kids are going to do what they're going to do, even so.
Yeah, but arming them with accurate information.
Yes.
They have access to so much on social media and the internet, but making sure that they're getting fact-based programs and information is really important to us. And, trying to prevent unplanned pregnancies and things like that. And honestly, up through high school, some girls don't understand what's happening to their bodies. Some boys don't understand what's happening to their bodies. So it's a chance for us to educate them, the whole way through and prevent some risky behavior.
Okay. Any other or future, type of education that would be different within the schools through your partnership with them?
Yes, we are really excited to be offering a social emotional learning and mental health component to the schools, thanks to United Way. We also have a vaping program that we are offering. It's Catch My Breath, and providing something this week or next week actually with some experts on that. We also have an anti-bullying program that we can bring as requested, and leadership program. So we have a whole Girls Inc. on the Go kit that we can share with the schools around programs that we offer. But the newest is the social emotional learning and mental health support.
So let's talk a little bit about that, just because I think you said media, you touched on that. We hear it every day, what social media has done to our kiddos, what it's doing to our adults. the impact and the challenges that as a society as a whole, worldwide, what is going on. Certainly local, in the United States, the former Surgeon General's now declared it a real emergency, and for us to a wake-up call to really start paying attention to the effect it's having on our kiddos. So is that one of your more higher emerging issues with kids, or that you're seeing? Or
yeah, there's a lot of trends around social media dangers. So they're seeing a lot of information that's not true, and people spin a lot on social media about you only see the good sides and things that are edited and photoshopped. So that is truly having a negative impact on girls, particularly in their mental health. We're also seeing that just the access to everything, they have the world at their fingertips with their phones, is causing anxiety in teens that we have never seen before. And so the combination of the access, the lack of resources to get them mental health support, and what they're reading is really leading to a true mental health crisis for youth. Not only that, but the information that they're sharing, and sometimes the photos or personal information that they're sharing, is almost being weaponized by some of the other children, and that's terrifying to think about as a parent and a youth serving organization leader. So helping kids learn to navigate what they're doing on their phone, what they're seeing on their phones, how they're accessing data, but also what they're sharing and what happens with the information that they share, I think is vital to combat some of those problems.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of adults that could stand to learn some things about
some social media safety,
or just how about social media courtesy? Something about anonymity somehow gives people this open door to not be kind, as we've seen so many other times. Tell us about the impact that Girls Inc. has on the community.
Yeah. I think it has a lasting impact. I am a Girls Inc. girl. I was an alum of the program, and it truly changed my trajectory for life. I have a master's degree. I've gone on to do some pretty great things, I think.
Yep, you can give yourself a pat on the back. That's okay. We don't pat ourselves enough. We beat ourselves up more, I think, than we pat. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But, I can speak to what having strong mentors through the program did for me, having the access to career exploration and learning what opportunities were out there for me, and having a whole team of cheerleaders to say, you can do hard things and that's okay, is really great. And so I am one clear outcome of the program. And I feel like, investing in our girls at a young age really leads to stronger leaders. It leads to better opportunities for them. And a lot of our girls, once they're through the program, they're not leaving the community. They're still here. I see alumni all the time. I saw one at Walmart last week, doing big things. And so while it's sometimes hard for donor supporters to see the impact now, when you see these really cute 6, 7, up to 15-year-old girls in the program, it's the 10 years down the road where they've made better choices. They've not ended up as a teen mother. They've not ended up in jail. They didn't participate in risky behavior, and they made some really strong life choices, like going on to college, or some of them have started their own business. I think it's remarkable when you really look at the long-term outcomes of programs like Girls Inc.
Yeah. What would happen to this community if Girls Inc. didn't exist?
You really wanted me to cry on air, didn't you?
I'm not sure.
I hate this question,
Yes, why?
But it is a terrifying thing for me to think about, that if we didn't exist, that there are so many girls that, while we have amazing other youth serving organizations that I am fond of in our community, I feel like we do things very differently for girls specifically. And so to give them a safe place where they can figure out who they are, where they can ask some hard questions, where there's not gender roles that have been forced on them while they're in our center. They really get to figure out what they want to do. And I think we build confidence and skills for those girls that they wouldn't have. And so while the girls may be okay if we didn't exist, I know because we exist, girls have better futures, that they have better outcomes, that they're making better choices. And so I think if we didn't exist, our community would not be as strong. We wouldn't have some of the fantastic leaders like Sherry Harlan, who's a girls club alum, or myself, that, you know, that little extra push is what we needed, or that one exposure to an opportunity that we were given there is what shifted, you know, the outcomes for us. So it's terrifying for me to think about if we weren't there. But do I think the community would continue? Yeah, it just wouldn't be as strong.
Look as good. Yeah, it wouldn't look as good. Talk a little bit about how you guys, your staff. Let's talk about like who helps do all this amazing work for these kiddos.
I have an amazing staff. And I tell them all the time how great they are because I never want them to leave me. We have a staff, it varies around 15, including myself, sometimes more, because we will hire high school interns also, or outside of their service hours, through some of our permanent staff. So we have permanent program staff, and we also have assistant program leads that are you know, extras. They help float between the programs. And they are truly remarkable. They always want to learn more. They want to have the best skills that they can to help serve the girls. But we have a program lead for each age group that we serve, and like I said, supports. And then my leadership team, myself, my director of operations, my director of development and events, and our program manager and teen program manager.
Wow. So it takes a lot to be able to do all of this work.
Yes, it does.
Talk about how you guys are able to do this financially. What gives the funding for you guys to do this work?
So people are often surprised that we really do not receive government funding to continue our programs. The only government funds we receive are for our summer food program. So we provide a free breakfast and lunch every day of our summer program, and we get reimbursed for a part of that from the state of Indiana. Everything else is private dollars, grant dollars, sponsorships, and things like that. And so it is a lot of asking and sharing the mission and having great partners like United Way and the Wayne County Foundation, or, you know, larger funders like Ronald McDaniel Foundation or Lilly Foundation that help support the work that we do.
I think if people want to get involved, we've been putting information up so they can reach out to you guys directly if they want to volunteer or give or want more information. So we'll do that. But I'm going to give you your final question because we have less than a minute left to go. What brings you, 30 seconds, what brings you the most joy about what you do?
The girls.
The girls.
By a long shot. You have a hard day and go out and, you know, any girl is willing to give a hug, it's their choice, or share the artwork that they made or tell you about their day, and it's the best part by far of my job is the girls.
Well, thank you for doing what you do for our community. That'll leave it for us there. I want to thank both of my guests for today's episode. Katie Stephen from earlier from Communities in Schools, and of course just now wrapping up with Tai Muldoon, CEO from Girls Inc. Stay well. We'll see you next time on The Third Sector.